It's time to wake up, recover from last night's mess, and get your fix of sports caffeine. It's time to kickstart your day with the latest sports news and opinions. Get ready. Sports Caffeine is live in 3, 2, 1.
And welcome, everybody. It is Taco Tuesday Sports Night with Sports Caffeine. I am one of your hosts, El Bushman. Welcome to another episode. Of course, with me is our co-host. With me is Taylor McPhail and also Kaylee Tchaikovsky from Beauty and the Cleats, will be airing tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and a whole bunch of other ones, right, Kaylee?
Yeah, all the things.
All the things.
And hopefully Taylor will watch this week.
There you go.
I think you missed 2 in a row.
I think I'm actually not going to do bingo tomorrow. So
thank you. Yeah.
I think after what you were talking about, where you got really hammered for your draft the other night at Rafferty's, you should not be there. You should take a night off. Yeah. So, of course, we are streaming live on Twitch, YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live, and I think I said YouTube already, but yeah, we're on that too as well. Special announcement: we will be at Rafferty's Bar and Grill, which is one of our sponsored locations. We'll be doing our NFL Live pregame show from 11 to 12:30 p.m. right before kickoff. We're going to be there doing our NFL analysis. We'll be also there giving away some prizes, which Carl and his team has for us as well. Drink specials all day and all night. So make sure you come on down, meet us there. We'll have a good old time like we used to do always. And the belt, which Kristen is bringing back. The belt now up for grabs this year. We've got, a couple new cast members on Sports Caffeine. So the belt is up for grabs.
Time to take her down.
Let's do this. So let's get started today. We've got a nice show. Of course, celebrities are in a lot of weird things. We know celebrities, athletes love to do things that are kind of out in the ordinary. And there was a report today that, Odell Beckham Jr. loves to have a certain act be upon him or done to him. And as you can see down below in our subject topic is he a true number 2? And I want to ask you too. I hope you guys saw that down there.
No, I didn't. No, there. Wow.
I wanted to ask you is there any validity to this at all? How some Instagram girls and all these weird ladies like to go on and claim they've been with a certain celebrity and done some weird stuff to him. Now, which is kind of ironic because he's on the Browns. You should have seen social media. They should say, Cleveland Browns should be named the Cleveland Steamers or, all kinds of crazy ass names. So is there any truth to Odell being pooed on, so to speak?
There might be, but one of the things that I always am baffled by is that people don't follow the Derek Jeter model. Where you show up to his apartment, you got to sign the disclaimer of the non-disclosure agreement. Then you do whatever happens in there. No one knows because you sign an NDA, and then you get a nice little gift basket on the way out. I don't know why every celebrity / athlete, anyone of importance, has that in place.
Chivalry has really died. The gift baskets on the way out, they're just not a thing anymore. It's God.
Apparently not, because everybody wants to be popular on social media, and Derek Jeter is the last of his kind, especially when it comes to the ladies. And I've talked about this before. It's like he did it right. You have a waiver, you sign it before anything happens. Whatever goes down in the middle of the night, that's between you and him. And then once you leave, you get your gift basket, signed baseballs, jerseys, pictures of him. You get, I think, like a coffee, something to get you going in the morning, and then you're on your way. But now, if you hook up with a certain celebrity, it's all about really exposing them for what they like to do under the sheets. And we've got some comments. We got some comments already. One from Martin McFly talking about Kaylee's face when we were talking about. Fair. Yep. And then Willie, of course, Willie Weems is talking about you, of course. Yes, it's a big you. We haven't really heard anything from OBJ. He hasn't said anything, has he?
Well, he made an Instagram post and it was pretty funny. It was basically like, nothing, like there's not any shit that can knock me off of my game at this point. It was a nice little pun in the caption. I really liked it. What I'll say about OBJ is I love him just as everyone else does. I love to look at him. I love what he does on the field, but also,
is he a good looking guy?
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Is it the blonde hair, Kaylee? Is it the blonde hair?
I think he's kind of quirky.
Okay, that's an interesting take. That's a very male take, but I think he's objectively attractive. So,
I didn't know. That's the first I'm hearing of it.
Out. Like we've all decided, but I think
wow.
I'm not here to judge anyone's fetishes or their sexual preferences. But I will say, everyone's looking for clout. So I love to stand with the women, but I'm just not here for that one. Like I don't know. You end up in OBJ's DMs, like just have respect, have respect. Count yourself lucky and just say nothing.
Maybe he should have like given her a package of like some Charmin or some baby wipes, and maybe said, "Hey, this is what's gonna go down. Please don't out me out." And yeah, I don't know. I love celebrities because they're just so quirky now. They're so weird, and when things come out like this, it just kind of puts a smile on my face because that's really not something you want to be known for is really getting the Cleveland steamer or getting pooed on. So, yeah.
Well, the social media these days, I mean, things are coming out left and right. You never know, you get fake news, not fake news. It's hard really to say. I mean, anytime I've been around celebrities, fortunately, in like different like club settings or Vegas or something like that, I've always ran into some interesting situations, needless to say, but that are different from their persona that you perceive them from what they bring out to the media and such things. So it's always interesting to see what comes out these days. And I'm always interested.
We got a nice poo emoji from Rick Phelps with the poo emojis right there. So I would love to be in that locker room when this news goes out and all his teammates are probably just like putting rolls of toilet paper and baby wipes on his locker. And then when he comes in, there's probably a tarp and everything too. I mean, to be a Cleveland Brown right now, I'm sure Baker's just like shaking his head going, bro.
Oh, they're having fun.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's too bad.
For sure.
It's too bad Kristen's not here because I was tagging her in everything today.
I know. I'm really the one Cleveland Brown fan we have on the show, and she's not present to like defend her boy, even if she was going to defend this guy. We actually do have a question right now from Willie Williams. Will Evans and Godwin have more receiving yards than Odell and Landry? Well, that's actually a good question. Kaylee, I'm going to go to you first. Who do you think out of these two pairs is going to have the most receiving yards?
I'm going to throw it to Odell and Landry only because I think they're facing less formidable defenses with their schedule. Like I think the Bucs have a tough time with their opponents this year. I think they have a tougher schedule looking at the rest of the NFL. So I'm going to throw it to Odell and Landry.
Taylor, what do you think?
And I'm obviously going opposite than that because
why not?
Well, Landry has the like lowest yards per catch per wide receiver in like the history of the NFL. He catches like 3-yard passes and 3-yard slants, and that's about it. And OBJ, he had one good year in New York, and ever since then he's not doing much of anything. So, I mean, Evans will drop some every now and then, but he's always good to take one to the house. And Godwin obviously came out of his own last year, and now you got Tom Brady throwing to him. And I'm not a flaker fan. Unless he shows me different than he did last year, like he was that one read and bolt out the backside. If he doesn't do that, I mean, if he learns how to actually read his other receivers besides his ex, then cool. Maybe they will have a better year. But until I see that, it's hard for me.
Taylor, we don't agree on much, and I agree with you. It's got to be Evans and Godwin because you got look at quarterbacks. I mean, you got Baker Mayfield, Tom Brady.
Whoa,
Mayfield, Tom Brady, and then
I'm not talk shit about Baker Mayfield yet.
I'm talking so much shit about Baker.
I call him Flaker.
I mean, compared to his season last year, where he looked like a chicken with its head cut off. I mean, Baker. I have the. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to have a better year now. He's got a new coach. Baker's going to be the same Baker he was last year. He's not going to do well, even in a new system. I think he's going to be even worse than he was last year. I think Godwin and Mike Evans have a better season than Odell and Jarvis Landry. Hands down, all day. And not because I'm a Bucs fan. I just think on paper, I mean, look at it. I mean, you can go by schedule, but with who you got throwing to you, I'm taking the GOAT over Baker Mayfield all day. And plus, those two guys aren't getting pooed on like Odell Beckham Jr. So, I mean, honestly.
Fair enough.
All right, so let's move on to baseball for a little bit. We had a little bit of dum-dum of the day. Our dum-dum of the day is umpire Joe West, who really needs to kind of hang it up. The things he does, and I'll put this, Joe West, yes, is king of the idiots. throwing out National GM,
Joe West looks like a baked potato.
Yes, exactly. And, throwing out the GM of the Nationals for being in his suite without a mask on by himself. I'm all for about being safe with, COVID-19 going on, but when you're by yourself in your own suite, you don't need a mask. I don't know why Joe West has to be continued to be a dum-dum every single time he has to umpire. Taylor, me and you are really big baseball fans, and you can agree with me that Joe West I think Joe West is going senile and he's really kind of, his screw is loose right now.
Joe West and Angel Hernandez are literally the bane of my existence. Like, I just cannot wait for them to get out of baseball. Like, they always got to show a scene. They always got to start an argument. They always got to one up somebody or do something crazy. Like, they're like all holy mighty Jupiter up there. Like, come on. Like, let's get out of base. Like, go away. Like, I'm done with
do you think that was a bit excessive for Joe West to throw out the GM of the Nationals because he wasn't wearing a mask in his own suite by himself?
So there was a lot of different sides to the story. He did say that like Mike Rizzo was yelling from up there. You can hear it because there's not obviously fans in the stadium. So it is distracting. So I think if that's the case, then I think you're justified, right? Because heckling as a GM is not a good look. It's not something you want to be happening in a stadium where there's no crowd, where there's no you're being heard from the field, and that's not really a good look. That's not good for the players, not good for your own players, much less the other team. So I think if that is the case, and they use the mask as an excuse to eject him, then I'm all for it. I think why not? I think the mask is a bit excessive. I hate to think that there's nothing kind of under the surface of that story besides the mask. But I do think, obviously, if it's protocol, you have to be the example of that team as well. So if that's the protocol and you're in the stadium and everyone's working to keep the season going and not have any outbreaks and not have what we had happen in the first part of the MLB season happen again, I think it's excessive, but is it wrong? No.
Yeah, but don't you think he should have just thrown him out just for heckling instead of saying I'm throwing him out because he doesn't have a mask on? I mean, I think giving that excuse is kind of just like, oh, come on, what's the real reason why you're throwing him out?
So I wonder if because my thought was that heckling maybe is not a legitimized reason for him to officially remove him. So my thought is he was heckling, he was kind of pissing him off, he was getting under their skin. It was annoying, but you can't say we're removing him for yelling because maybe that's technically not really kind of breaking any protocol or anything in the stadium. So maybe he was like, oh, well, he doesn't have a mask on, get him out. And maybe that was the way to remove him. Maybe that's giving Joe West a little too much credit, but I'm benefit of the doubt here, okay?
One of my favorite things about watching baseball, since we're not allowed to actually be at the games, is that you can actually hear the other teams bitching and complaining and heckling each other and complaining to the umps and just yelling. Oh, I love it. I love the heckling.
On the field, I'm all for it. I just don't want to hear front office people. It's just stay in your lane. But on the field, I think that's really cool. And I think it's something that's going to be really cool in the NFL as well. I think you're going to hear, it's going to be mic'd up, but all season for everyone to hear. And it's going to be fun.
I can't wait.
Side topic, by the way. I don't know if you know this, Kaylee, but are they going to do the sideline reporting type deal like they did in the XFL? Are they going to transition that over to the NFL this year? Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't heard anything. I would doubt it because I really do think that they're trying to keep on-field personnel to a minimum. So I wouldn't imagine that they would bring extra people on the field just for that, because you have to think it's like a 2-camera setup with the actual personality that's doing the interview. So that's, 6 additional people on the field that aren't really necessary, but it would be really cool because I do think that was something in the XFL that was it just awesome. Made a huge difference. It was great.
I think what they're saying was no media people are on the sidelines. There's no cheerleaders on the sidelines. Yeah. So I think for media people, they have to be back in the press box and everything like that too. I wish it would happen because then we could hear all the cool stuff going on, especially when corners go against Odell Beckham Jr. and tell him how much of a shithead he is.
I love it. I love it when they enhance the mics.
I love it too. All right, let's stay in the baseball realm. It was I think over the summer that ARod and J-Lo were trying to buy the Mets. They're together. They're a power couple now. They've got so much money. Well, now the Mets have been sold to somebody else, and ARod's claiming that it was rigged because him and his ownership group they were outbid for it, and he's saying it was rigged. I say for any guy that knows about cheating, that's ARod because of steroids. Do you think it was rigged? Do you think the Mets kind of said, you know what, we don't want ARod and J-Lo to buy this franchise? Do you buy anything into him saying it was rigged at all? I stopped believing anything ARod says after he fake cried on national TV about steroids. So.
I think it is. I think it's true. But I don't think it has anything to do with
You're too nice. You're too nice, Kaylee. What's the matter with you?
I think they're giving themselves too much credit to think everyone's against them. I don't think that was the situation either. I do think that he probably hit ARod up with a text, said, "Hey, what are the bids looking like?" And then when the same day that happens, they're like, "Oh, we're in exclusive talks with Cohen." It's like that is very. It's not really kosher, right? And it like people are saying like that's a really weird way to set like a bid deadline and to not do like a bidding war for a team. Like for something that big, you'd think you'd want to go up as high as possible. So like if they're willing to go higher and then the Mets are like, nah, we're selling it to this guy. The only thing is like, does it really matter? The Mets are a private company. They can really do whatever they want. Right. So at the end of the day, like it makes no difference, but I don't think anyone was out to get ARod. I just think it was the fact that maybe there's some connection and maybe he just wanted to get a little insider tip before he put a bid in. So he didn't bid too high. But at the end of the day, it's like they can do whatever they want. You don't really have a case anywhere besides social media or in an article. So
yeah, it's just ARod whining to get his way. I mean, he's been entitled since he was 17 years old. So, I mean, he's been the all hail mighty first person to get paid $300 million and blah, 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 blah. But then again, it's the Mets. They've been associated with the Madoffs and all this craziness. So nothing would surprise me. I mean, they've had shady characters, obviously, like I said, Bernie Madoff and all that stuff before. So who cares?
We got some, I think, not so breaking news. John Decker says Von Miller is out for the season. His torn his ankle.
Yes, I saw that earlier.
Bad news.
So sad for Von Miller. We hope he gets well. But that's
another quirky guy.
Yes, another quirky guy. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm actually kind of glad ARod does not have any kind of ownership of anything at all. I mean, if he was smart, he should have bought into the Miami Marlins with his boy Derek Jeter. I mean, they could have kept that god awful statue in center field if you would have bought in with the Miami Marlins and ran that franchise into the ground, but Derek Jeter is doing right now. So, okay, we're gonna go into our favorite game of the week. It is State Your Case. My gavel is actually on its way. I will have a gavel soon for next time on State Your Case. State Your Case. What is the best tailgating food? We've got NFL coming up on Thursday, Sunday. We've got tailgates all day long. People are gonna be tailgating no matter what. Tailgating at home, tailgating hopefully it's in front of the stadium. Hey, they're gonna break some rules of COVID rules. So, State Your Case. What is the best tailgating food? Taylor.
I'm a brats and dogs kind of guy, and beer. Lots of brats and dogs and beer. So as long as that's available, I mean, I'm big on the grill. Any burgers, brats, dogs, anything really you could throw on the grill, I'm all for. And that's all I'm really going to make and bring. It's easy to transport. It's easy to cook. It happens fast. You can bring a whole plethora for lots of different people. Everyone typically likes it, unless you're a vegan type, vegetarian type. I mean, they have veggie burgers and stuff as well. So. But anything with that, doing a couple cake stands, jumping off and breaking some tables with the mafia, I'm all about. So, I mean, that's my take on tailgating food.
Okay, Kaylee?
I'm going to go, I love anything that's customizable. I'm going to go slider bar, slider buffet. So you do like,
wow,
right?
Fancy. Very.
That is way too bougie for me.
You prep for like pulled pork, pulled chicken, whatever, like your slaw, all your toppings. You just bring it. You put it on one of those little like catering warmers, and then people can just build their own sliders. And you don't have to cook anything while you're there, because nothing's more annoying than like getting to a tailgate and wanting to have a good time, but now you have to like man the grill or like pay attention to the food. Like that's very annoying to me. I don't ever do it, but it is annoying. Like I see people doing it and I'm like, that seems not fun.
So
you're gonna like Rafferty's on Sunday then, because they got a whole big slider menu over there.
Love that.
And they're customizable as well. So
yes,
I'm surprised you didn't throw in like a Bloody Mary bar as well to go along with the sliders, because that would be.
I didn't know we could go full meal, but yeah,
you can go full meal on this. It's okay.
I wouldn't do Bloody Mary bar. I love a Bloody Mary. But I would do a mimosa bar with a bunch of different juices, a bunch of different fruits to put in there. Like it's a good time.
Okay, I'm going to bring in James Ludeman. He's in his car right now.
Whoa, James.
Wow, that is A1 lighting right there.
You shouldn't be driving, but we're in state your case right now. State your case. What's the best tailgating food?
Oh man. Wow, this is tough, man. I love bratwurst. I'm a big fan of that. I think there's something to say, especially at football games, for a really good brat.
Something we finally agree on.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well. And then, in the words of my man Harry Carey, I like to wash it off with a nice cool Budweiser. You know, because that's just what you do with it. But
Budweiser, king of beers. That's right. Cubs win.
Cubs win. But yeah, actually, some of the best tailgate food I've ever had is we actually did. Man, we've tried to come up with like different things at the Bucks tailgates that are different. Like one time we brought our air fryer out there and we did fried Oreos.
Ooh.
So
I love that.
We try to do something different at tailgates that are beyond
it's like
the
state
normal.
food right there.
Yeah, exactly. But if you want to ask me like what my basic favorite is, it's probably a really solid brat is really good.
Okay. I like
man.
Like now, Taylor and you are agreeing on this. Now, has the world ended? Because now you guys actually agreed upon something, which is very doesn't happen a lot. You guys have agreed on brats. I'm going to go with, wow, you know what? I love so much when I love foods aplenty. I think I'm going to go with the handheld. I'm going to go with either a nice chicken wing platter or I'm going to go with an accoutrement of maybe a charcuterie plate. Yes, I'm going to get fancy with a charcuterie plate.
Wow. Okay. I love a good charcuterie plate.
Yeah, so with just a peripheral of cheeses and meats, and then you got to have your toothpicks, and then boom, I'm stacking up stuff like that. Okay, and then when it comes to drinks, I'm going to go with an IPA bar. Like set me up an IPA bar, and I'm gonna go down. I'll have some nice flights to go, and then I'm good to go. And then I'll be done by halftime. Take a nice little nap, 15 minutes, and I'll be up and going again. So that's my tailgating food right there.
I love that.
Accoutrement. Okay. Now, James, I'm glad that you joined us. We're gonna talk a little bit about your boy Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, I know you love Tua so much. Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to start for the Miami Dolphins until Tua probably takes over. So we're going to do over under. How many games does it take for Tua Tagovailoa to start for the Miami Dolphins this season? James, I'm going to go with you first.
Because I know the history of Tua, and because I really think that he is, with the release of Josh Rosen, they really believe obviously that Tua is the future. So it would make sense for him to sit. Now, I think Tua's in a great situation because, first of all, he's one of those guys that can sit back and learn from Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has had just this crazy amount of experience in the NFL. But in answer to your question specifically, I think midway through the season, so, we're talking 16 games. I'm going to say at least by week 8. I think he's at least started one game, if not more, by then. But I'll say week 8.
Now they don't have a backup plan. I mean, it's basically Fitzmagic and Tua. I mean, Josh Rosen is now a Buccaneer. He's on the practice squad. We'll get to Josh Rosen in a little bit. Kaylee, John Decker said 5 or 6 games. Do you agree with John? Do you think it's over that amount, or are we going to see Tua a little bit sooner than later?
I think we're going to see him week 4, and I think Fitzmagic shines bright, burns fast. He's a training camp quarterback. I love him to death, but I don't think they're going to stick with him long. I think the thing is regardless of injury, regardless of Tua and his fragile bones, I really think he'd be starting if we had preseason. At the end of the day, I think without preseason, without proper OTAs, I think that's a little tough. And I think they've acknowledged that. So they kind of went with Fitzpatrick without really kind of feeling out everything Tua could offer. And I think they do believe in him. And I think as soon as that tide starts turning, Tua's in. So, I mean, they played the Bills in week 2. They played the Jags in week 3. I think those are both obviously winnable games for the Miami Dolphins. So at this point, you go into week 4 against the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to look good this year. I'm a believer in Russell Wilson. I'm a believer in what they have going on. I think once you watch 3 weeks of film from them, you're going to want Tua in there for week 4.
Taylor, do you think it'll be sooner or later? Or do you think James said week 8, Kaylee's saying week 4. I mean, are you in the middle or are you a little bit over under?
I'm closer to Kaylee with this one as well. I think it really is going to be based on how well me you obviously missed me and her and Krista were agreeing last week on everything, and I was opposite them. But anyways, I'm going to go with closer to her. I think it's really be based on the performance of Fitzpatrick more so than anything. None of us think that the Miami Dolphins are world beaters or are expected to maybe be anything better than 8-8 at best. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be around 4 because Fitzpatrick, he's a chucker, man. He's like Jameis, he's going to chuck it and he's going to ride or die with whatever happens. So, and half the time you're going to get touchdowns and half the time you're going to get some pick sixes. So I think it's going to be around then. They're going to say, great, well, we still have a chance at salvaging the season around week 4. This is a game that, we want to win. Maybe they don't want to throw them into the fire right away against Seattle because Seattle is so good. So maybe they may wait another week, I'm thinking, after that. But I think it's going to be sooner rather than later, even though I personally think, he should wait later. I mean, I don't know. I know the reports out of campus, he looks fabulous and he looks great, but that's just –
I think if the Dolphins were smart, they would definitely wait as long as possible without rushing him on the field. I'm gonna go week 7. I think because we all know what Ryan Fitzmagic can do. What Fitzpatrick can do. He can throw up huge numbers, but then the next week he can break your heart with like 4 interceptions. So I'll go with week 7 because I think the longer they prolong Tua being out there, the more that he's safer without getting an injury, because we really don't know. They said he's 100%, said his surgeries went well over the offseason, and he's healed up, but we really don't know that because he could be another Robert Griffin III. He could be Mr. Glass 3.0 and just go out there and bam, one hit, and he's done. So if I was the Miami Dolphins, I would say we're going to ride with Fitzy as long as we can, and if the timing is right, we'll throw him out there against a crappy team. Maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though that's kind of sooner than later. But yeah, go ahead, James.
What's interesting about this whole training camp situation to me is that I look at a guy like Tua, and I don't know if you guys have seen some of the video from camp from him, but he's looked very, very good. And I've been very impressed with his ability to get rid of the ball quickly. Some of the things here, obviously, when you live in Alabama and Tuscaloosa, you see a lot of this stuff because it's just everywhere. One of the biggest problems outside of the injury risk with Tua was his on-the-field decision-making. Sometimes wasn't always the best. So for him to improve on that already, not having a full camp, I would argue the point to say if COVID was not here and they had a full opportunity to see what he can do in a preseason era, we may be talking about a different starter for week 1. Because I think if you're looking at pure talent and ability, you're looking at Tua. But I think the Dolphins want to be smart and they want to sit him behind a guy who has plenty of experience winning and losing. To sit there and kind of see what they got.
Taylor, are you going to bring something up?
I was just going to say he always looked good against the Citadel. I know that.
All right, we're going to, I mentioned Josh Rosen a couple of seconds ago, and I think Josh Rosen his career has been probably the most saddest in the NFL. The guy's been traded 3 years pretty much in a row, hasn't really got a chance to flourish and shine in a system. I mean, drafted by Arizona, then he gets traded to Miami, and now he's with Tampa Bay Bucks practice squad, which I think is a rightful fit for him because now he's going to be able to learn in that system. He's going to be able to see Tom Brady. He's going to be able to learn behind him. If there was ever a really good Hollywood story to bring to light for nowadays, and if the Josh Rosen movie ever got made, who would play Josh Rosen in a movie?
Adam Sandler.
Oh, yeah, I really think so.
With some hair dye and some hair plugs.
Yeah, but isn't
Sandler
a little bit old to play Josh Rosen?
No,
Sandler's like 50.
Adam Sandler is timeless.
Okay, Adam Sandler. So we're going to go with the comedy route, or are we going to go to like a serious movie like Uncut Gems?
Definitely got to go comedy route.
You have to go comedy with Adam Sandler because at this point, Josh Rosen's career has been laughable. And I think he's a great person. I'm pretty sure eventually I hope he gets a shot. But I think you're going to miss out if you don't go comedy because there's so much material there.
James saying no. James,
no, you can't go comedy. This is one of those movies that you look at and you go based on a true story. Like this is that kind of movie. This isn't that every movie? No, this is not a comedy movie. Josh Rosen, I feel so bad for this guy. Like, to be drafted in Arizona and to sit there and be told, okay, we're gonna build a franchise. I actually like that. That's what I was gonna say.
That's
crazy.
That's not bad, Ryan Gosling. So if we're going to the serious, I like that. Nick Anderson, I think I like that. We're going to go the serious route. You know, Ryan Gosling's really about the indie arts,
Ryan
dramas.
Reynolds, Canadian.
Not too much funny. You'd have to go comedy route if it's
Ryan Reynolds is hot.
I kind of like the Ryan Gosling thing if we go the serious route for a Josh Rosen movie. Taylor, what do you think?
I'm gonna go along the Sandler route as well. I think it's a comedy. I mean, he's one of those people. He's very outspoken. He seems like a smart guy, but he seemed like he was entitled from an early age as being like his freshman year at UCLA. He was the number one pick. And then he kind of wasn't. He got hurt. And then he's like, oh, he's got the best arm in the league. Does he? He really doesn't have that good of an arm. So I think you got to go comedy because all I could see him ever really being is a backup at best and holding on to some kind of backup job. And if he learns kind of I know he's got a lot of other things outside of football that he's into, especially, you know, he's big into, you know, he's just outspoken about a lot of different things. So I could see him, if he learns the work ethic from Tom Brady and learns how to act like a professional on and off the field, then I could see him holding on to a backup job somewhere else.
From the studio that brought you The Water Boy.
I can see it now.
Uncut Gems. Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. Adam Sandler is Josh Rosen, drafted number 1 by the Cardinals and then traded away 3 years in a row. All was against him until now. He said, "That's right, Coach Aaron. I'm going to start for your football team." That's right. All right. I like those picks. We got Ryan Gosling. We've got Ryan Reynolds. We've got Adam Sandler. That's a good movie pitch. I like that. All right. Let's stay NFL. We've got the bold predictions coming up for this year. We're going to save for last. We're going to go over Thursday night's game. Everybody's excited. Football is finally back. COVID can kiss our asses. Thursday night, Chiefs, Texans, a rematch of the AFC divisional game. Who we got? Let's go over the picks. Who we got for Thursday night's game? Taylor, I'm going to go with you.
Got to go with KC. Obviously, I'm not a big believer in Bill O'Brien at all. Is he even still there?
He is still there, unfortunately.
Well, I don't know how. I mean, he's probably one of the worst coaches I've ever seen. So he is KC. It's going to be all the way. It's going to be, you know, they're going to be celebrating their championship. Even without a crowd there, they're going to be hype. Mahomes is hype. He just got paid. Everyone on the team just got paid. I mean, everyone's just going to be super excited. They got some more weapons. They got they're just going to be high flying all over the place. And the Texas defense, their secondary especially, isn't very good. So I could just see them getting railroaded and Deshaun trying to keep them in it. But even though he just got paid too, I just don't see it working out for them. I could see it being about a 35-17 or so game.
So you got, okay. All right, James, what do you think?
This is tough for me because I really like what Deshaun Watson can bring to a game. But I just don't think they have the weapons. And honestly, one of their biggest weapons, who was Brandon Cooks, is questionable right now with a quadricep injury. So it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that over the next couple of days. He didn't take part in practice today. I think that was another big note for Brandon Cooks. So that's one of their big offensive weapons that they have. So or at least that they traded for it to have, I guess. So I'm going to agree with Taylor. I think Kansas City's probably going to take this. I don't see how the defense of the Texans can stop Kansas City right now. I mean, offensively, they're one of the best in the NFL in total offense. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, Cowboys were last year.
Yeah, and I have a bold prediction on that.
All right, we got a couple of people in the comments saying Texans over the Chiefs. We've got John Decker and Joshua Garrison both saying Texans over the Chiefs.
No.
Kaylee, do you agree or disagree on that? What do we got for Thursday night?
You know, I love Deshaun Watson, but his contract also has a no trade clause. So I think when you look at him and say he's going to play because he got paid, not really, because now they're stuck with him, right? They can't trade him away. So he doesn't really have as much of incentive as Pat Mahomes. coming off of a Super Bowl, he's going to have to beat Pat Mahomes in the air. I don't see that happening. I think the Chiefs offense, they added weapons in the draft. They've stayed high. They have relatively low, injuries. They don't have all these players that are questionable sitting out, which I think the Texans have kind of dealt with since they've been back. And the Texans, they added Brandon Cooks, but losing DeAndre Hopkins, who was, more off the field than he even was on the field, I think it's a huge loss for them and their locker room. So I just don't think that they're going to really beat them in the air. I mean, they've got the two Johnsons on the ground, and I think they're going to rely on the run game, but you can't compete with Pat Mahomes. And I think we'd like it to be a closer game than it's going to be, because we want to see a fun matchup on Thursday night, but it's going to be sloppy. It's going to be a lot of offense, but I do think that it's not going to be close. The Chiefs take it.
I agree with you on every point that you just said. I think it's going to be a rusty game because, these guys didn't get to play, preseason. So you're going to see mistakes. You're going to see sloppiness. But, the Chiefs really upgraded on every single level when it came to their team. And the Texans Bill O'Brien just said, I'm going to give you my best player, and I want back a guy that's had multiple concussions, a running back that's hasn't been good since 2015, and I'll take a washer and dryer with it and some nickels, and you guys can have DeAndre Hopkins as well. So I really think it's going to be – I honestly think it's going to be a shootout of a game because, these teams are just dusting off the rust. And I think a lot of these games this coming week – and weekend are really going to be high-scoring games because, you got to dust off the rust somewhere. So high-scoring games all around. I'm going to say Chiefs on Thursday night as well. So before we end out the show, everybody, thanks for commenting in the comments below. It is Sports Caffeine Live on Taco Tuesday Sports Night, 8:30 p.m. Make sure to give us a like and a follow if you haven't already. So let's close out the show. Bold predictions for NFL 2020 season. What do we've got so far? Taylor, I'm going to go with you first. Bold prediction.
My bold prediction, I already told you guys before.
Can't be Cowboys.
Bucks are finishing under 500 once again for the 10th out of the last 11 out of 13 it'll end up being. But the Bucks are going to be under 500. I said 5-11. That was being a little bit too harsh. They may be more closer to 6-10. But the Bucks will be under 500. They're going to be third in the division. They'll be ahead of Carolina, and that's about it.
James, I will save you last. Don't worry. I will save you last on this. Kaylee, what is your bold prediction?
I think it's a lot of fun when I get to agree with Taylor. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So that is my bold prediction. I see this. This is like Browns 2.0. Like, we have all these guys. The hype is real. It's Super Bowl or bust, hashtag on Twitter. But I think we're heading into that. It feels a lot like deja vu in that scenario. And I think maybe in 2021, but I think if anyone's going to buck this up, it's going to be the Bucks. So they don't make the playoffs.
I'm sure James is glad that he did not do this segment on Set the Sails last night, because you would have all Bucks fans.
I have to provide that anti-Bucks on the Bucks podcast. I bring realism. Okay. I bring them down a notch back to reality.
Everything I say is real. So
I guess it's kind of like me with my expectations start really low, and then if they don't do well, it's okay. James, you don't have to do a bold prediction on the Bucks. You can do whatever. Like you guys didn't have to do bold predictions on the Bucks. You could have done whatever, but you guys did the Bucks. That's cool. I understand that. James, you don't have to do Bucks related. You can do something else. I think he is.
I'm trying to.
I think we broke him.
Yes.
I just want it to be known that I'm trying very hard to maintain my composure. I'm trying very, very hard to maintain my composure. So I'm going to do that, and I'm not going to do a Bucks prediction.
Okay.
Because first of all, you guys have been awarded the Stooges of the Week. First off, because you guys are morons if you all think that the Bucks are going to win 6 games. That's it. You guys are stupid.
I just said miss the playoffs.
No. Don't recant now that you're wrong. You made your bed. Now stupid. Anyway, here's my bold prediction, and I was going to write these down. I was going to make one on the Cowboys, and actually I did.
It's on video. We can go back to the video.
I actually wrote an article on this, and here's what I will say. Since Taylor didn't get to do a Cowboys one, I will do it. The Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Wow, that's a bold prediction.
I like that one.
And not only that, will the Dallas Cowboys win? Dak Prescott will be the MVP of the league.
Oh,
Wow.
all right.
The offense in Dallas is very underrated and very good.
I think Taylor and James just became best buddies.
Well, listen, it's bold. It is bold. And listen, I think that the Cowboys have the offense to do it. Now, the defense, that's a different story. I don't know if they can hold it together, but I'm going to say bold just because Dak Prescott's in a contract year. He's trying to win a job, and anytime that you've put Dak against the wall, he's performed. So I'll give it to you. I think the Bucs do make it to the NFC Championship. They will lose to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys will beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl this year.
Well, that's funny you mentioned that because they did the 300 simulations on ESPN the other day, and that's exactly what happened. Except for the only thing, the Cowboys beat the Bucs in the NFC Championship, but they ended up losing to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So I'm with you. I'm good. I mean, we make it to the Super Bowl. I'm obviously a happy guy.
Listen, I think you guys are completely wrong about the playoffs. So listen, I think you know what? I'm not gonna say division, but I will definitely say at least a playoff spot for Tampa. You know what?
I love it because you've got so many Bucs fans in the comments. Just their blood is boiling right now. So Bucko Bruce, he's having a fit right now.
Are we counting wild card games? Because I don't count wild card games.
No, wild card is the playoffs.
Wild card is playoffs. Yeah, wild card.
I don't see them making the playoffs.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna make my bold prediction right now that the Arizona Cardinals will go all the way to the NFC Championship. That is my
bold. That is bold.
That is my bold. I really like this team. I think getting Nuke there in the offense, they made really some good moves in the draft. I just think second year Kyler Murray with that offensive system is just gonna be really electric. So I think the Cardinals who are my dark horse this year. You're going to see them go to the NFC Championship. That is my bold prediction.
Can we please do one more?
I
think we also do one more.
Yeah,
can we all do one more?
We can do one more.
Do one more because I listen. I got a bunch of these, but there are two that I really like. So
okay, James, what's your bold prediction?
Here's the other bold prediction, and this one I think is going to make a lot of people mad, but I really don't care. My bold prediction: Mitchell Trubisky is going to lead the Bears to the playoffs.
That is very bold.
Mitch Trubisky is going to be the starter.
There's no way
all year long.
That's why it's a bold prediction, Taylor. You can't knock it. It's a bold prediction. It's very
that's
bold.
That's bold and wrong.
All right, Kaylee, what's your second bold prediction?
Gardner Minshew, player of the week, 8+ weeks of this season.
What'd you say?
Gardner Minshew.
8+ weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Of what? Losing?
Player of the week.
Oh,
probably that too. Probably that too, to be honest.
You can't be player of the week and lose.
I'm pretty sure he did last year. To be honest, I think he did at least once.
I don't think so.
My last bold prediction is the Colts will make the Super Bowl. That's my last one.
Philip.
My bold prediction last year was the 49ers would go to the Super Bowl, and that ended up happening.
I think the Colts take the division. Like, as much as that hurts me, I don't like the Titans at all. I don't mind the Texans, but I think the Colts are going to take it this year.
All right.
I'm saying go to the Super Bowl. I think they'll beat the Chiefs.
That's crazy. But yeah.
Derrick Henry's about to run wild on that division, bro.
Okay,
I'll do a bold prediction. I'll do it for
Jonnu Smith, breakout player of the year.
That actually could happen with the Titans. I mean, he's
I like tight end.
That's a good tight end.
Yeah. We talked about
my second bold prediction: the Miami Dolphins will win the AFC East. That is my bold prediction for 2020.
No,
I know it's not going to happen, but whatever.
Cam Newton's going to throw and lead the league in touchdowns.
Well, that's good. I have him on my fantasy team as my backup, so that's all good with me.
Yeah, so, he's going to do it. You picked right.
All right,
Patriots always got something up their sleeve. You never know.
They do, which is very scary, though. That's the scary part about it. All right. Well, we are going to end our show for tonight. So I want to thank everybody in the comments for chiming in. You guys have been awesome. I love getting you guys fired up, especially when it comes to Bucs comments. Taylor, Kaylee, you guys are more than welcome to do that every single week on the show.
Very
nice. Yeah, they can do that. This is my show. This is our show. This is our show.
UCF still sucks. UCF still sucks.
We can agree on that.
Well.
We can agree on that.
We'll see.
Of course, this is Sports Caffeine. You
all
got
about the U.
every single Tuesday, Taco Tuesday Sports Night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, streaming on Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live, and everything else in between. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and on Facebook as well. We're also streaming on fanstreamsports.com, and also make sure to download and listen to the app as well. This Sunday, if you are in the Sarasota, Bradenton area, please come down, or if you're in the Tampa Bay area as well, come down to Rafferty's Bar and Grill, downtown Main Street. We'll be doing our NFL pregame show from 11 to 12:30. It'll be a great time.
So nice.
Got some giveaways. I'm so glad to be back. The belt is coming. We'll be seeing that. The belt is up for grabs, even though Kristen will be having it until the end of the season. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be great to be back at Rafferty's for this 2020 season. It's happening. NFL is happening. It is going to be awesome. So for myself, Taylor Cayley, and of course, James Ludeman, we will see you next time on the show on Sports Caffeine. We will see you guys later. Actually, we'll see you guys on
Sunday.
We'll
for
see you
sure.
guys
Excited.
Sunday
Happy Football Thursday too.
We'll see you guys later. We are out.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Sports Caffeine, available for streaming on fanstreamsports.com and FanStream Sports, the app.